Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Legends of Dragaea Idle Dungeons. As you can see, I have 3 save files. One of them is quite high leveled. Today I thought we'd do a little challenge. Now that I know a little bit more about the game, why not jump in and try something a little different? We're going to leave it on the standard settings. And what I'm thinking of doing is a fully neutral class. Neutral growth is kind of conducive to this idea that I have, plus the innate passive is very good for this class. Alternatively, Shellkin could be interesting. The problem is the minus 25% to Katana's growth, because we are planning to use a Katana. The Waykin could be interesting. They also have a minus growth. Resilient is not bad. I think we're just going to go with the Waykin here. Go ahead and give him really goofy anime eyes. Alright, now he properly looks ridiculous. As always, we're going to change the name to match our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/dufftime. And we will go forward like this. Looks good enough for me, pretty much a very similar shield. Okay, we build the guild house and the storehouse. For this challenge, we are allowed to hire other units. However, we will not be using them. And that is the premise behind the challenge. We're gonna go solo. First things first, we're gonna enter and leave immediately. Head back to town and see who showed up. Okay. And doing this will give you access to all of their equipment. Okay. So now we can come in here. Unfortunately, there is no katana. I guess we're gonna have to go find one. We're gonna rock with medium armor for the time being. Eventually we're gonna pivot into heavy armor, and I think probably a club is a better weapon, but we're going to stay with the sword. Here we go. It's always a little slow going in the start, so we're going to go ahead and idle through the rest of this until oh, there's our katana. I changed my mind. We equip the katana immediately and we get right back to it. Okay, as I said, we're going to go ahead and idle through this as soon as we see how much damage the katana does. Katana's a good weapon early on. Power 9. Now, Waykin is not one of the best classes for the early game, but because we're doing a solo challenge, we've chosen to use Hype Up as our ability. That barrier in life is very, very good in the early mid-game, and it should have a reasonably good effect in the later game as well. So we're going to go into an idle, let this dungeon level up some, take a peek at where our character's at the end of that, and we'll be back with the next part of the video. Stay tuned. Killed a lot of hedgehogs, some goblins. We got 2 of these little rocks here that we can use to build things. There's really no need to look in there. There's nothing that we're going to use. First thing we're going to upgrade is the guild house. We go straight back to another idol, this time much stronger. 20 barrier, 25 health, with a power 5 on hype up. Better agility, which is making us dodge a lot. Found a mimic. Mimics are very powerful in the early game, but as you can see, my character is actually quite tanky. Between the blocks, the dodges, everything kind of working together here. And we took down the mimic and acquired the gear. That's pretty good. Something we'll need to test later in this run is whether or not you can counterattack off of a dodge or a block. And the answer to those questions will change the way that we plan the character, because I actually don't know. I haven't really used counterattacks. In either case, we're going to get to at least 50 heavy armor mastery and 50 medium armor mastery, so it doesn't really change the plan in that sense, but we'll need to test how those mechanics interact. For this build, we are going to be using a Katana and white magic. That combination of abilities to me sounds like it has the most interesting synergy, and our agility stat is actually at 19 already, which is pretty nice. It's scaling very quickly. In the long term, we may stay in agility, we may stay in medium armor, because there's a way to get haste on dodge, and haste on dodge sounds pretty good to me. Now things are about to speed up because we're almost to the point where we hit 10. Level 10 will get us going really fast. So I'm gonna let the game go into an idle, and we'll come back at level 10 once we're flying through this dungeon. See you soon. So we actually idled right through the boss. That's okay. We'll accept the new quests here. That kind of thing happens in this game. Occasionally you idle right through the boss. Solo a dungeon and win. Alright, do we have enough to upgrade? We do. Now we get access to abilities. We're almost level 10. That's going to increase right here. It will give us one slot. Okay, this is probably what we're going to use. Great. We'll check our equipment quickly. Very good. Even better. Okay, there's really nothing to do in here. Only thing to do is go straight back in. We have to clear out inventory space. So we're just going to sell everything. And now we can upgrade the dungeon points. We're just going to do adventure EXP here. As promised, we're going to be flying through this dungeon now. Hype up does 8. It is impossible for us to die at this point, especially with 28 agility skill, medium armor, and block. So we're going to once again idle through this, and we'll be back in a bit. Alright guys, as you can see, we're at level 9. About halfway to level 10. We'll go ahead and keep the camera on this until we get through the boss this time. We're making quick work of this dungeon. Everything falls pretty easily. Now, I've never done a single character challenge, but I'm looking forward to seeing what a single character can really do if you tune them up to the point where they're designed to handle every problem. Now, we're close to level 10. After we get through this boss and we hit level 10, we'll go back to town and improve our character. As you can see, the boss is strong enough to maybe make us pop a potion, but he's not strong enough to even get close to threatening us in terms of a loss. There he goes. We get the loot. Some of that looks pretty good. We'll continue on until we get to level 10, and then we'll take a trip to town. Now, this level 10 is a big deal because it allows us to actually test the mechanic that we've been wondering about, which is, can you counterattack on a dodge? Can you counterattack on a block? These are things that we need to know, and the sooner we know them, the better, because it will allow us to plan our build more accurately. So the good news is we're going to find out very shortly, and by very shortly, I mean right now. Okay, ding, level 10. Knock out some of our quests. Okay, first things first, take a peek at equipment. We're tanky enough. I like the idea of the crit chance here. Now the important part, we come in here, and we select our skill. Of course, it's going to be this counterattack. Now, just for the sake of understanding how it works, we're going to unequip our regular attack so that we can really test that. We'll build the Hurt Emporium. And once again, as before, we're simply going to sell everything. We don't care. And now we get to test whether or not counterattacking works on dodges and blocks. So he missed and that counterattack went off. He missed and the counterattack still went off. So most likely what that means is that we're going to stay in medium gear for the entire run, although we will get heavy armor to rank 50 at least. That is really good. Okay, now that we know that, we'll go ahead and re-equip our regular attack. That is pretty awesome. Great, we're going to continue our idle. Knowing that that combination works, it's going to be a pretty quick idle now, especially with the counterattack, which charges up while you're running, which is great because it basically means that someone dies instantly as soon as they attack you. So we're going to continue our idle for a little while, and then we'll go back to town, sort our gear out, and figure out what we're going to do next. See you soon. So somewhere along the way we got a legendary drop. Unfortunately it's a club, we're not going to be using clubs. And because this is a solo run, there are no other characters who are going to use it, but luckily we did find these boots. Those look pretty good, especially because of the magic find. Not a heavy armor. We're not using heavy armor, so we can ignore it. Nothing really to see here. We'll sell it all. We can build the big smithy as well. So there's nothing else that we need that we can farm in this zone. That's fine. It is still probably the fastest place for us to level up. There are some achievements for us to grab. We're going to continue until we hit the level 20 point here. Let's try the worm nest boss. It says I only have a 4% chance of clearing this. Let's find out. Okay, yeah, we're not winning this, guys. What happens if we do the Sangreer Castle? Doing these two gives us a gut check as to where we're at as a character. That's good. That's actually an item that we can use. Starts giving us access to back equipments and rings, things like that. So we are actually reasonably strong, taking out the bats fairly quickly. So we're actually going to leave simply because we don't want to lose that equipment randomly. Physical defense and barrier is pretty nice. We'll come back to this later. For now, we're going to continue the grind to get some experience, to get some mastery in our weapon and our armor and things like that. See you soon. Okay guys, this is one of my favorite times when you get that dungeon to level 21, you start really ripping through it. And this is one of the best places you can be to gain experience on a character. It just moves so quickly. So the levels will go up fairly rapidly now. Character's currently at level 13, 39 barrier, 56 health. There is absolutely no threat of death here, so it's a very cozy run. We know that we're going to take home all the equipment we find. We are going to idle here for the time being until we either get geared enough or whatever the case is. We may go all the way to level 20 here. I'm not going to record that whole thing. That's going to be the end of episode 1. Episode 2 will most likely start at the Sangreer Castle, and we'll have probably full tier 2 items, and we'll begin there. It's looking promising for our single character challenge. We'll pick back up once we have a better understanding of where we're at. At any rate, thanks so much for tuning in. This has been Dan vs. Everything. I also have my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/StuffTime. Links in the bio as always. We'll see you either here or there. Take care, my friends. See you in episode 2. Bye-bye.